What's up, guys? It's time for another edition of What the Pros Are Using During Quarantine. And today we're sitting down with my buddy JD Simo. Really super cool rig. JD was recently re-inspired. Something that I think is great as guitar players. We're not losing the ability to keep moving in a different direction and find new tones. He's just a great buddy, and he sat down and gave us a lengthy interview on what he's currently using right now for the Quaran-Tones. So we're going to send it over to JD. Check it out. Dig.
This is JD Simo coming at you from the funky basement in the House of Grease. Welcome to the Riff. Thank you, Nick, for asking me to contribute something to the episode this week. Nick and I obviously are really dear friends, and we talk all the time. And so he wanted me to go over kind of like the stuff that I'm using during the quarantine, and sort of touch on some of the things that have been inspiring to me during the quarantine. So the guitar that I'm mostly playing these days is this old Silvertone. I still have my 335, of course, my old 62 335, but to be honest with you, I haven't really played it much since I got this a few months ago. Sort of coincided with the pandemic. I got this from Carter Vintage. I ended up doing a deal, and this is a very inexpensive guitar. It's from the 60s at some point. I don't even know what year it is. And I love this thing. Don't really change the strings out much these days. I like the sound of old strings. But yeah, I just love this thing. It's really inspiring. I've written tons of songs, and on the weekly Greasy Time live streams that I've been doing, I debut a new song every week that we've recorded down here, and man, just about all of them except for the first couple have been this guitar. So I've really dug on this. I'll talk about some other guitars that I'm really into, but also wanted to talk about the other points of the rig. Here's a basic kind of overview of some of the effects that I use all the time. It's pretty Spartan. There's a, for vibe, I love the Weaver Effects, Violet Vibe, but that's actually a Midnight Vibe. That's what I've got down here right now. I don't use it all the time. I'm sort of going in and out. I mostly use it with the vibrato setting, but I love that dang thing, and it's my favorite, I think, of everything that's out there. I also got a Shanae Vibe 2 that's really good too. They're just different from one another, but I really like the Midnight Vibe an awful lot, and it's just been staying down here, and I use it occasionally. the El Capistan tape delay thing, and then the old silicone fuzz face that I use a lot, and then the Jack's Fuzz Wah, which is what I was just using. That's a 70s Japanese wah-wah pedal that also has a fuzz in it, and I love the fuzz.
Just a side note here, guys. JD wanted me to mention that in the Jack's Wah is the Chase Tone True Talk wah-wah pot. You know, I love wah-wahs, and I remember helping JD spot the good one. He got a Vox V846 style. He's recently moved that on because he wanted to go back to using the Jack's Wah, and it totally revitalized, revamped the wah-wah. He loves it. He's using it now. So, you know, Kyle Chase has always been great to me, and anytime I can recommend his stuff, I do wah-wah repair at times, and I do recommend, if your wah-wah pot is failing, to just throw a Chase Tone in there. They're great, they're affordable, and they have a wide range of tones. But JD just wanted me to throw that in there, that in his Jack's Wah is a Chase Tone pot. So let's get back to JD.
And then also the tremolo reverb switch for the amp, which is what that sticker of Felicute is on. And then amplifier wise, I've just fallen in love with Ampegs. This is my Ampeg Gemini 1. There's a Gemini 2 underneath it that I use sometimes that has a 15 in it. But this is my favorite. I use this pretty much all the time these days. It just records better than any amp that I have, and it's just become my favorite. It does everything I want it to do. It's got the original speaker in it, and I can't really say much. I can't say enough good about these, man. They're killer, and they're super cheap, you know. So check them out if you're so inclined. I'll talk about another one of my favorite guitars. This is an old Custom Craft, which is an off-brand K from the early 60s. This was a gift from a friend of mine. This was called the Red Fury model, and it's light as hell, man. This thing's like 4 pounds, and it plays really easy, and it's out of phase in the middle, so it's like all of the stuff that I have a switch on my 335 to do it, but this thing's already out of phase. All that kind of stuff, or you know. T-bone stuff, or you know. Records from the early 60s lately. guitar. So this has quickly kind of become my other favorite, other than the Silvertone. This sort of Parts-a-Caster Jazzmaster that I have tuned down to B. I can make it go out of phase in the middle to sort of do that pop staples, you know. So anyway, I use this a lot. Okay, Will Van Hensolo up in Canada, and this thing's great. This is an old Harmony Meteor, and I'm just getting into it, so I don't have I haven't used it on a ton of stuff yet, but. So yeah, I mean, I've just really fallen in love with the pawn shop guitars and sort of the cheaper end of the old school gear. It's really inspiring to me, and it just sort of happened by chance, you know. The Silvertone kind of started it, where I was wanting to check out a different guitar from Carter Vintage, and they ended up not having it. And I said, well, what else you got lying around? And the guy there was like, oh man, you should try this Silvertone. I was like, okay. Well, I didn't think much about it. I got it home and just immediately was like, I love this thing. Like, it was really inspiring, you know. And then the Red Fury, the custom craft was a gift, you know. I didn't seek that out. And the Jazzmaster is something I used on all the last touring that we did up until the pandemic started. So I had that, and this is brand new, like just within the last week or so. So that's the things that I'm most inspired by, at least equipment-wise. And then when it comes to, I've just had a really great kind of community aspect of getting to know, at least a little bit, some of my favorite contemporary guitar players. Because, you know, it's really easy for me or anybody else to talk about, you know, our favorite old school guitar players that are heroes of ours. But there's so many, man. There's like this, there's really kind of, you know, there's more now at this moment than there's been in my lifetime of like guys that I like am really inspired by and think are amazing. So actually I've got a couple loaded, and I want to talk about them just as sort of the end of my segment here. And again, thank you, Nick, for having me this week. But the first is a guy named Patrick Sweeney, who is a dear friend and just one of the funkiest dudes around. Black Keys fans will know him from his song Them Shoes. Anyway, just check him out if you're not aware. I mean, he's just a really great roots, old school, real blues guitar player and singer-songwriter. I mean, he's just fantastic, you know. But he's, you know, when it comes to blues, that's, you know, past the real thing, you know. Another is the great Jimmy James, who is in the Delvon Lamar organ trio, as well as his own horn band that's called the True Loves. Jimmy is one of the greatest guitar players out there right now, and we've just met via Instagram, and anyway, he's just a cool cat and just one of my favorites. And again, if you're not aware of him, check him out. But much love and respect to him. Also, some new friends of mine from up in Boston area is the GA20 band. Both these guys are fantastic guitar players, and again, like, they play real blues. They don't, there's no bullshit with these guys, and I love these guys, and we just recently gotten to know each other. We were texting the other night, and so check them out. And then my buds from Austin, Texas, the Greyhounds, Andrew and Anthony. Andrew Trube, the guitar player, I mean, he's a very underrated, awesome, funky, awesome guitar player in the world today. And his name's, everybody calls him Bud, and just awesome. Again, just check him out if you're not aware. If you are, then kudos to you. And then I always, as far as in the modern era, I've talked about on the Greasy Time show a lot, Tommy Brennick, of Budos Band, Manahan Street Band. Here he is with his longtime collaborator, Charles Bradley, before he passed away. I mean, he was Charles's main songwriting partner and producer, and currently Tom is in a band called Los Yesterdays, which is on Penrose. They just released a 45, a single just a couple of months ago. That's a new subsidiary of Daptone, and anyway, he's always a very inspiring guy, and I'm a big fan of the Budos Band, and their last record, 5, is fantastic, and you should check it out if you haven't already. So anyway, just the gear is a really fun part of it, but for me, it's about the music, and it's about digging into players and records and stuff that you haven't listened to before, and finding inspiration from talented folks, whether new or old. But there's so much good stuff going on right now, and I can honestly say that my relationships with my peers has been greatly enhanced by the quarantine, and I've become closer to people I love and respect than I've ever been in my life, because we're all home, we're all looking for things to collaborate on, we're all looking to make some interesting plans for the future when we can finally all play together again. There's actually some talk of doing some really cool package tours that we've actually started as just sort of a small conversation and is now kind of turning into a bigger one. But at any rate, just take care of yourselves. Try and listen to a new record every day that you haven't listened to before, and be open to trying different gear that maybe you wouldn't have before, because you might be surprised what it pulls out of you. It sure has pulled a lot of really interesting stuff out of me. So anyway, my love, I've gone on way longer than I needed to. Have a great rest of your day. Support Nick and the Riff here, and also remember to tune in every Friday on my Facebook channel, facebook.com/JD Simo Music. Watch the Greasy Time show every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and follow me on Instagram, JD Simo Music, Twitter, JD Simo Music. You seeing a trend here? Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also I got a new record coming out August 21st, and the new single, One of Those Days, just came out 2 weeks ago. So hop on Spotify or Apple Music or however you listen to music and check that out. Much love. Have I asked you to do enough stuff? All right. Much love to you, and Nick, love you too. Keep it greasy.